People's been trying to interpret what a well-regulated militia is. Yeah, well, since it was to form to protect this country from loyalists or foreign countries trying to take us over, whether uh, through political means by working their way into our government, which has been taken over by these loyalists who want to change everything and just hand over our government to communism apparently, or socialism, because they don't have answers, and that means they're the wrong people in the job. Well, a well-regulated militia, I'm sure back then, was to discuss how, or not planning to overthrow the government, but discuss what would it mean for a new government. You try to say, well, we need a, I'm sure you train, but if you was getting together with the militia, you'd try to find out, and you'd talk to other militias too, because you wouldn't want to make sure all the militias in the country are American. You don't want to get together and go against a tyrannical government and have a bunch of communists shoot you in the back. So you don't want communist militias. You don't want socialist. You don't want Nazi militias. None of these are American militias. They're not for rights and freedom. They all have a different agenda. It's the constitutional America, the Bill of Rights America, and you get together. If you was in a militia, and you'd say, you know what? How do we know when it's tyrannical? What measures do you take? You can't. You're going to ask the government. You're going to ask the people that's going to go against you. You're not taking action, but you would talk to you would. That's what well-regulated means. Is you get together and you have meetings. You have maybe a monthly meeting or a quarterly meeting or something like that. Maybe semi-annual. I don't know how often they get together. Never been in one, never even been around one. And but I know they don't allow them in this state. And if you was to organize one, in what other states you can, you have to get a freaking permit. Which I don't think that's. I think that's that's what the infringement is in there for. Is all these permits and laws that they try to say this is how this has to be. No, it has to be how Americans want it to be. It's not the government comes in. The government shouldn't have any. These are our rights. These are the citizens' rights. This is not. There's no right in there that says the government to regulate. It doesn't say the government to regulate militias. It says the right of a well-regulated militia. That means the militia itself regulates itself and can organize itself. And they're actually allowed to organize. Where if I'm sure if it was under an emperor or a king, they wouldn't allow a militia to organize. So basically, that right is allowing the organization and the regulation. For people to say hold certain meetings, talk about different subjects, and say this is how when you come here, this is how when you come to our meeting, this is what it's going to be like, and this is how maybe they have a chain of command. I don't know. I don't know if anybody'd want. I think they have chain of command, but it's not for communists. They should all be American. They should all have basically the same ideas. Is what we would do. It's not. You can train. Training is training, but you also have discussion, because I'm pretty sure they put it together when they threw this Second Amendment back together in 1791. he was thinking, these loyalists are coming back. They're going to try to organize, getting the government organized to overthrow this country. And that's what they've been doing. They've been trying to infringe it for, I think, 1789. It was like the first infringement they put towards, and it ended up in 1906 passing through. And that was like the first infringement. I mean, that's what, not even 15, 20, or 20 years or something like that, that it's, well, it'd be 70s. Well, they didn't do it till about 8. So, I don't know, about 30 years is when they started the first, they got past the first infringement. And people were still sitting around going, wow, this is, I don't even know how the militias were back then. But I know they weren't communists. I know they weren't socialists. They weren't allowing that kind of stuff. The other militias would regulate and make sure that everybody's an American militia. Wouldn't be allowing, they should stomp that out themselves. Shouldn't need government to get in there, and or shouldn't have an ISIS militia. They shouldn't have a Russian militia. You can be Russians in there, but it's because you want to live in America. If you're trying to think you're going to be a communist overthrower, then no. Because I know there's people in other countries that, had believed in different ideas and then realized that they were in a foolish leadership and decided, we got to find another place. And so anyway, but that's the regulation is, they're allowed the right to regulate, to improve to organize, to a militia, so that that they can build, and people will be proud to be part of it, and it's part of an American. But it's not for communists. It's not for terrorists and stuff like that. And it's to to find out, well, these loyalists have worked their way back for 200 years, and they're trying to steal this country, And if they all got together, I mean, we got internet now, and you could discuss with other militias, what their plans are, what they believe that how to keep these loyalists from turning this country socialist, which is not what it was meant to be. I mean, it's supposed to be. I mean, everybody knows America. Everybody on the planet knows what America is, and these people are trying to change it for some agenda, some socialist money grubbing agenda. It's just that's what's happening. That's what loyalists do. That's what they did. They just followed the money. Maybe they were just loyalists were the rich people. They were happy with the money they was making through, the English king and whatever that. So I don't know. It's well, I do know. I know it's this government is trying to infringe us right out of our rights. Is what's happening, and you ain't gonna be able to vote them out because they're these like the rhinos that are moving upward. Look at how many rhinos there are in the Republican Party that are they're following the same stuff, and both sides swap, and they're trying to. They think it's all about money because they have the freedom. Everybody else has to work to pay for their freedom, basically. And I think we should abolish the 16th Amendment to get rid of their spending sprees, their vote grubbing, their they spend money, they throw money to foreign countries to get favoritism from that country, and that look at who knows what I don't even know how corrupt it is with all the money they got. And that was only supposed to be, the 16th Amendment was only supposed to be for what, World War I or something like that, or maybe it was what was it, 19, it was just before World War I, maybe, I think it was, or something. I can't remember what year it was, 1911, I don't know, somewhere around there. Just after, anyway. But it was supposed to be dropped after that, and they haven't. And they've just been throwing money, going to war. The thing of it is, nobody's talking about it because it's been such a subject that they can't get past what regulated means. It means that they are can self-regulate, that they can build their memberships, that they can organize, and they can regulate as well. I mean, without government interference. It's not the government has a right to regulate, which they're trying to with all these infringements. I can't believe this country spreads the word to the whole world how we have rights and freedoms, and here they are. That's all they're arguing. They're doing is arguing against them. It's like, what a two-faced government, and I don't see it stopping. I don't see it. I don't see these. Nobody's throwing these people out. They got Trump now. I guess I shouldn't go into this all over this, but I mean, he's been harassed and stalked for 6 years. And these people with these they give insider trading information and all the other and all the infringements and all the socialist agenda and all this stuff that they're trying to pull, and they haven't been pulled out of office. So maybe that's what militias need to get together and discuss. You know, what should we vote? What should we throw up to be voted on by the American people? And then everybody decides, you know, what we need to vote on is all this stuff is how do we get rid of these people instead of just voting them out, because there's so many. You know, if you're just a small a small voice in your community, you're not going to be able to get these people voted out. A lot of people just vote because they know the name and they're used to the name, and they don't even pay attention to what's going on because it doesn't affect them. They don't. Nobody really does anything until it affects them. And you know, they say get involved in the community. Well, you should get involved in your Constitution. You should get involved in your Bill of Rights. You know, you should be an involved American, an involved citizen.